think it's fundamentally wrong that that creep who killed those 4 college kids in Moscow, Iowa,
Kohberger,
that he gets to keep living. So he kills 4 college kids, and he keeps on getting to have life, and those people don't. In order to say that those people's lives mattered, the only just thing that we can reason ourselves to is to take that person's life. And that is not murder, that is killing, and it's societal self-defense. Murder Alex or murder me. They already murdered themselves in that action. They already bestowed the punishment upon themselves. We are simply completing the task. When you take another person's life, you already took your own life.
I have concerns over things like the death penalty. Is it it's one of the 10 commandments. You say no murder. So is it somehow justified because they're such a horrible criminal, or are they eliminating or changing the trajectory of God's plan for what it was supposed to be because they murdered somebody and they didn't go when God was ready for them?
Great question. So I get this question a lot. So it does say do not murder. It does not say do not kill. So those are 2 different Hebrew words, right? So to murder is a completely different thing than to kill. For example, you're allowed to kill in self-defense. Somebody comes into your house, you are allowed to take that life if your life is being put into jeopardy. In fact, to go a step further, the reason why it made sense to ancient Israel, did you know that a life for a life, otherwise known as the death penalty, is the only law that is in all 5 books of the Torah? It's the only law. Not even the Sabbath is in all 5 books of the Torah. Now, the Sabbath exists in Genesis, but it's not in all 5 books. So this idea of taking a life if you take a life, what is it rooted in? Why does it matter? Well, first of all, God is communicating to us the first thing. Taking human life is a major deal. That's God's first moral teaching in the Torah. That it's not to be trivialized. Let me give you another example. There's a law of the 613 laws of Judaism, of which we are not bound to the ceremonial law, which is one of them, that if an animal takes a human life, you must kill that animal. So it's like, okay, that's like, why do that? Well, what are you gonna like have, oh yeah, that's Lenny, he killed my uncle, and say hi. Like, you're gonna keep that animal around? The only punishment imaginable for taking the thing that only we are made in the image of God. So if you take another image bearer's life, what could possibly be a just punishment for that? Well, according to the economy of God, it's that your life must also be taken. And according to scriptural theology, we are not taking that person's life. When you take another person's life, you already took your own life. I want you to think about that. If someone were to murder Alex or murder me, they already murdered themselves in that action. They already bestowed the punishment upon themselves. We are simply completing the task. And think about it. Some people will say, but Charlie, it's not fair because of whatever sob story liberal reason. How is it, and honestly, no, and I'll just close with it. I'll kind of finish with this. But you know who it's not fair to? It's not fair to the victims. You are cheapening the lives of the victims. You are basically saying the victims die and you get to live. So you get to continue to live even though you took the lives of others. So for example, I think it's fundamentally wrong that creep who killed those 4 college kids in Moscow, Iowa,
Kohberger,
that he gets to keep living. So he kills 4 college kids, and he keeps on getting to have life, and those people don't. In order to say that those people's lives mattered, the only just thing that we can reason ourselves to is to take that person's life. And that is not murder, that is killing, and it's societal self-defense.
Last interview. I'm Ainsley Earhart. On the morning of September 10th, just before he was brutally assassinated, Charlie Kirk participated in the Restaurantology Summit in Salt Lake City, Utah. At that summit, he sat down with Andrew K. Smith, the managing partner of Savory Fund. They had a wide-ranging discussion in which Charlie reflected on entrepreneurship, the growth of Turning Point USA, and his philosophy on leadership. We're going to play that final conversation for you in its entirety in just a moment. But first, joining me now is Andrew K. Smith. Andrew, thank you for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
The last person to interview him, little did you know, it would be his last interview.
Yeah, it was, we're still a little bit in shock right now. still trying to process it. When you're with a human and feel their life, he was full of life, he was optimistic, and have him walk out the back of the stage after our interview, and to find that out, under an hour later, it was a shock for all of us.
What was the audience reaction when you said, first of all, when you said Charlie Kirk is going to be a speaker? I know there was some hesitancy,
Yeah.
but they changed their minds after they heard him speak. I want you to talk on that. And what was their reaction when you told them he had died?
When I had announced it, yeah, I got some kickback. I didn't know that there was such a feeling out there of people not wanting to listen to his rhetoric. But the one thing that we did early on, though, is that we said, we're going to take politics off the table. This table is round. At Savory Fund, we believe that food is love, and the way that you share love is you break bread around a round table. And the reason why we always say it's a round table is because this industry it's a cross-section of all different political views and cultures and ethnicities. And when you come together, we're breaking bread. It doesn't matter. And Charlie loved that. He said, I love that. I want to be around people that we don't have to talk about our differences. Let's just talk about entrepreneurship. So we had people that were hesitant. We had the event. Actually, me and Charlie, we talked for the 35 minutes. And after that, I got a swarm of texts of people saying, I'm so impressed with that conversation. I didn't know that about him. I didn't know he was an entrepreneur like me. I learned a lot there, and it's actually changed my opinion of him entirely. People deserve to know the Charlie Kirk that I got to know before we had the interview. And the interview itself, as you watch it, it's so fun. I could have talked to him for hours. And I had some notes to ask him questions, and I think I ad-libbed on 3/4 of them because it was just so easy just to get rolling. And the last one that I asked him is, what's a favorite quote that you live by? It will blow your mind, his answer on that. But I think that you really felt the spirit that he carried as a human, the optimism. But at the end of the day, that conversation with him will be something for me I will remember the rest of my life.
It's interesting how life can change in a moment, and you didn't realize when you're sitting on that stage with him, what was about to happen in the next few hours.
Yeah, he walked off the stage with me at 11:21. He came off the stage and said, how did I do? He wanted to know that he did a good job. And I said, Charlie, that was great. And he goes, I loved the energy of this. We want to do this again. I'm like, well, if I do another one, I would love to have you come back. And he walked out the door at 11:23. And our first reports that we got that he was shot was about 12:30, that he was shot at 12:20, 21, 23. So yeah, within an hour. And it just rocked us. Behind the stage, all of my team that was running the event with me, we were just in disbelief. But we thought, the audience doesn't know, and it's going to be very distracting, so we should tell them. And so we actually walked out on stage. I did initially, and I told everybody I just informed that Charlie has been shot at UVU, and there were gasps. You could tell emotion. People were in disbelief. People were reeling.
What did you learn from that experience? What lesson?
Yeah, I think that we learn a lot when we sit down with people, even if they're different. They have different opinions, different political views. If you can make it apolitical, a conversation, you really learn who the person is. And he was a person not only of faith, but he was a person that was driven. He was innovative with what he was thinking about doing with his career and with the business that he had built. And he had a tenacity and grit that is what makes America amazing.
You're feeding America. I like the round table idea because that's what we need in this country. Put politics aside and let's break bread together. Thank you.
I think it was the last minute,
thanks
right?
for reminding me.
Yeah. No. Hey, listen, I'm a Bears fan in the back as well, but yeah, you grew up in Chicago. You're not in Chicago now, though, Charlie.
No, in Arizona.
In Arizona.
So whoever runs Hash Kitchen, we have pumped a lot of money into your enterprise, and we'll continue to do so. Great, well run. I didn't even know you guys had Hash Kitchen.
Yeah.
They have these, I think these Bloody Marys that
are like this big.
Yeah. It's like you walk in, it's like half the size of
you don't even eat breakfast after that. Yeah. But no, Scottsdale's in a great place. We built a lot of restaurants in Scottsdale and in Arizona air market, and it's great, and Hash is great. But you live there, you're married.
Yep, 2 kids.
Married and 2 kids. So you're doing the father figure thing, and it's hard, right?
It's a lot, especially as an entrepreneur, right?
Yes.
There's practices that we have to sustain to keep it all together, such as honoring the Sabbath, which is really big in our family, just resting for one day.
Yeah.
Because as you know, working just for 7 days straight, you'll burn yourself and your organization out if you do that.
Yeah, it's interesting because we're in an industry where you go 7 days a week. predominantly, right? And there are some very big brands that have done it where they've taken off Sunday. We have some brands.
Chick-fil-A, right?
Chick-fil-A, yeah. And we have some brands ourselves that are off on some Sundays. I actually think that we all should do what Italy does, and that is take the whole month of August off. Should we do that?